Yes guys, welcome back to the Mids MB channel, where today we are talking about a certain Ten Hag. We're talking about a certain Manchester club, a team that isn't really doing too well. And personally, I mean, I like to see it. I love the downfall of great clubs, especially when they tried not to fight the inevitable, but the inevitable was happening. But before we get into that video, make sure guys that you click subscribe to join MB United. I've decided that name, I think, is probably the best one. It just makes us seem like it's a team, it's all football related. And of course, I'll be dishing out captaincy, vice captaincy when the time comes, but stay tuned for that. But without further ado, let's discuss Ten Hag. Let's decide if he is the manager for Man United or if he should be sacked. So I'm going to call this savior or sack. You let me know in the comments below. But first, a quick history lesson. Now, usually whenever people used to think about Man United, they always used to think about a team that will win and a manager that knows exactly how to win. And that was all because of Sir Alex Ferguson. Now, the last 10 years aside, whenever people would think about Manchester United, they think about this dominant team that has a manager that knows exactly how to win, players that are ruthless, and ultimately just a team of winners. Now, the last time they won that league was when Sir Alex Ferguson was managing, and that was all the way back in 2012, 2013. Now, since then, they've been through an array of managers. They had David Moyes, that didn't work. They had Louis van Gaal, that definitely did not work. They had Jose Mourinho, who, for some part of his managerial career, it seemed like it was actually going to work, and then it didn't. And then they brought back sensational hero Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to manage the team, and that still didn't work. So who did they decide to get? They decided to get Erik Ten Hag. Now, before Manchester United, he was a manager of Ajax, and he was, yes, manager of that Ajax team that went all the way to the Champions League semi-final and somehow lost to Tottenham. He brought through the likes of De Ligt, Frenkie de Jong, Ziyech, an experienced midfielder in Tadic. All of them guided Ajax to a sensational season and made people start looking at Ten Hag and this Ajax team like, is this another golden generation of Ajax talent? So of course, why would you not want Erik Ten Hag to come to United and help rebuild United and bring through the amount of youth that they need to help this team succeed, such as Marcus Rashford, perhaps even Jesse Lingard, other players that are also in the academy, the same way that he did with the Ajax youngsters. However, I personally think Erik Ten Hag is biting off more than he can chew. Now, when it comes to any sort of Manchester United manager, you're expected to win, you're expected to play great football, and you're expected to not get spanked by your rivals like they did last season. Also, when it comes to the Champions League and teams that are either on your par or even better than you, you're expected to compete and compete fearlessly. Now, for this manager, they got Erik Ten Hag. Now, that being said, under Erik Ten Hag last season, so the 2023-24 season, United had their worst ever league finish, the most goals conceded, the least goals scored, the lowest ever position, and ultimately, I think it was even worse than that.
You might be asking me, Mids, what do you mean it's even worse than that? Surely it can't be worse than getting spanked by your rivals, our lowest ever finish, most goals conceded, least goals scored. How can it possibly get worse?
It's worse because it's not like how I said previously when I thought that, Ten Hag would come in and really focus on youth and the young players in the team. He spent over 600 million during his time as manager, and most of his players were from Ajax as well.
And you might even say, Mids, what do you mean? You were just lauding the Ajax team saying, yes, that is a second generation of great players. Like, why the hell wouldn't Ten Hag want to bring those players with him? If he did so well at Ajax, why wouldn't he do so well at Man United?
And the answer is, it's not career mode. It's not FIFA, it's not Football Manager. And even in Football Manager, they'll tell you, listen, I don't think that is going to work. I don't think it's going to work. Now, when it comes to Ten Hag's major signings, I don't think a single one has been a great signing. Okay, now I might be dragging it with the whole second witness protection thing, but I find it kind of coincidental that at the same time that Dutch international Quincy Promes was arrested in Dubai, all of a sudden Terrell Malacia, who was also a Dutch international, got some mysterious injury and he hasn't played in about 2 years. I don't know, if you do the maths, something fishy is going on. He's barely played, and personally, I don't think he was going to be a first choice left back, but that transfer has definitely not gone to plan. Now, Mazraoui, he's a good player. He played for Bayern Munich, he played, of course, for Ajax as well, but he just came, so I'm gonna hold off on the judgment for now. I'm gonna just put that as a question mark. Now, again, for the same players, Xerxes, De Ligt, Yoro and Ugarte, they've literally just arrived, so I can't really assess their performances, and Ugarte hasn't even played, so it'd only be bullying if I really did that. So we're going to put those guys all to one side for now. Now, Andre Onana for about 50 million from Inter Milan. I I'm not gonna lie. I think the Inter officials were laughing on the other end of that phone because they couldn't believe that, you know what, United are actually gonna spend 50 million on this guy. Because yes, I understand he did get to the Champions League final. They didn't concede a lot of goals, but it wasn't down to him. Andre Onana, honestly, I think United would have been better off if they had gotten someone like Diego Costa. If they'd even gotten that Mamadashvili, who definitely shone during the Euros. Look, I just don't think he's a good keeper, and he's definitely not an upgrade on David De Gea. Like, honestly, he might be better with his feet, but when it comes to his hands, yeah, there's holes in his hands. Now, the next player, Lisandro Martinez, this is a bit of an interesting one because I did say I don't think any of his signings have worked. And the reason why I say this, knowing that they bought Lisandro Martinez for almost 60 million, again, from Ajax, is because Lisandro Martinez hasn't been available all the time. And we all know the best ability when it comes to football is availability. So for someone who is good when he plays, but only manages to play every now and then, I can't really say that's a great signing, especially if it is for around 60 million euros. Again, because I know United fans are thinking,
what do you mean? He's our best centre-half.
Yes, he is a very good player, but he's injured for like at least half the season. And this is his third season here. It's time to start, paying off that transfer value. Mason Mount, so far, it has not worked. He's had a whole season, and don't get me wrong, he was riddled with injuries, but after he got injured and he came back, he did not look the same. And I mean, I hope he doesn't turn into a bit of a Jack Rodwell situation, but I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt up until January. He has up until January to prove me wrong. Other than that, he's a dud, unfortunately. Now, Casemiro for 70 mil from Real Madrid. Boy, Jamie, do you want to handle this one?
The football's left him.
Now, as harsh as that might have sounded, like I don't think Jamie Carragher is wrong, honestly, because I'm not sure if he's good enough for the Premier League anymore. I'm not gonna say he needs to learn Chinese or Arabic, but I don't think a team that is so reliant on counter attacks and committing players forward, he can't be isolated by himself in that midfield when his fullbacks are gone, Kobe Mainoo's gone, and Bruno Fernandes is of course in that pocket between the midfield and the attack. He's just gonna get killed out there, and we've seen it time and time again, not only earlier on in this season, but last season too. I don't think if Ten Hag wants to continue playing the system, Casemiro cannot play for Man United. He needs to go elsewhere. He's still a top player, and he's still a legendary player, one of the best, CDMs that we've had in recent times in modern football. He's gonna go down as an all-timer, but right now, he's going outside. And I would say it's sad to see, but I don't know, there's something about United losses that just make me smile, but we'll get onto that later. Hojlund, Mr. Praying for a Miracle, finally scored after however many games. I personally don't think he might be the one good signing because he actually shows a lot of potential. I know he's injured right now, but he's got that real hunger for goal, and he's a striker that is definitely always going to be in the box. He's fast, he's physical, he's got decent finishing. I think he's actually a decent signing, so maybe I might change that. I think there has been one good signing under Ten Hag. And then last but not least, my personal favourite, Mr. Fidget Spinner, Antony, for 90 million from Ajax. Now, I'm not even going to talk about the performances per se.
Spoiler alert, they've been terrible.
But this is a player who you've worked with. You've seen him, grow in your team, and you thought, him, 90 million pounds or 90 million euros. However, 90 million, you've decided, I'm going to pay that. Ajax, here you go. There's nothing to justify it. There is absolutely nothing to justify it. He has been nothing but terrible. I think he's actually averaging about maybe 1 goal a season. Not 1 goal a month or 1 goal a game, which would be incredible, and definitely the marks of a 90 million player. I'm talking 1 goal a season. And this isn't because he's injured. It's because, frankly, I don't think he's cut out for the Premier League, which is kind of harsh to say, but I don't think he's cut out for the Premier League. I think he might need to go to either the Bundesliga, where they have a bit more time on the ball, there's a bit more space, or he might thrive in Ligue 1. He might thrive in the French First Division, and that's because, I don't even know. I don't know what's up for Antony. I think maybe back to Brazil, recollect the ideas and then come back 2 years later on a redemption thing. I'm not really sure. But out of Ten Hag signings, 1. I just simply think that Ten Hag is not doing a great job. And with the form of only winning 5 games in your last 15, I personally just don't think Ten Hag's cut out for the job. And I'm not saying he's a rubbish manager. Look, he's done great things with Ajax, and he's won the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup as well. That's still not achievements that we shouldn't just like brush over. He still won 2 trophies. But for the manager of Man United, you need to be doing far more than just flexing a Carabao Cup and an FA Cup when reporters ask you what's going on with the team. That's just me. Now, out of all of the major signings that Ten Hag has made, all the major signings that I listed off, thanks to the people at Live Score, only 5 of those players came from Ajax, and it was actually in that team that he was building, the team that, you know, stunned Real Madrid, stunned everyone when it came to the Champions League. There's players from that team, and maybe Antony doesn't really count. He did work with Antony still because, of course, they were together at Ajax, but it was mainly David Neres playing off the right. But still, former players, and to be fair, 6 if you count Christian Eriksen as well. And it's just like, none of these players have worked out, literally none of them. Maybe Lisandro Martinez, but again, he spends half his time on the medical bed. So can we really count him in? Barely any of these players have worked out, and it's just like, any other manager, if this was Fulham, if this was Everton, if this was Liverpool, Chelsea in particular, he'd be out the door. So I guess my question is to you guys, do you think I'm being a bit too harsh, or can you see why I personally don't think Ten Hag is the man to, you know, I guess revitalize this Man United team and bring them back to the glory days that they had under Fergie? I don't know, man. I don't get that vibe. I'm not really seeing that he's the right man for the job, especially when it comes to buying and selling players. He kind of gets it wrong. But I will give him props because there was a clear issue with Manchester United's defence, and this market, he did tackle it. He bought a right back and he bought another centre-half, a young one in Lenioro. So on for the future, he's going to learn from the likes of Lisandro, Harry Maguire, maybe not learn too much from Maguire, but yeah, learn from these defenders and actually grow to hopefully be, you know, one of the stronger defences in the league. But who knows? Talking of defences, I think you guys should personally check out this video where I spoke about Arsenal's defenders, and of course, since they're having a great season last year, keeping a lot of clean sheets and minimalising any sort of threat and goal, do they actually have the best defence in the league, if not in Europe? You guys let me know, and I'll see you guys when I see you. Peace.